Go.
Right, here we are. Popeye.
I'm just going to watch the workout, you guys can talk.
Yeah.
So AOD Athlete performance piece, Popeye.
Yeah.
We're going to, first of our video reviews, here we have Alex Houghton, Lois Smith, Michael Allen and Georgia Radley.
Yeah, I'll pop the names on the things.
Thank all you guys for chucking on your videos. We'll just pick 4 every week, so don't feel disheartened if you didn't pick a video, we still love you. Let's
so we all did this workout, didn't we? So
we did, yeah.
What are your thoughts after having done it? If you were to do it again or whatever, what do you think? Where's the time?
Well, yeah, we normally do it a little bit later than everyone else. Normally in the AOD Athlete program, it's on a Saturday. In my program and in some of my athletes' programs, it's on Sunday instead. So sort of I already saw what a lot of people had said about it, and I was a bit like, it can't be that bad on your back. It'll be alright. I thought it'd be more grit, but yeah, no, I definitely fatigued a lot in my back. I think it's always one of those workouts that when you go through it once, because it's such a long workout and because it is mainly about pacing, like if you were to do it again, you pretty much would beat your score. It's very hard not to beat your score if you did it again. Like you just pick up a little bit of pace here and there, shorten down your rest times, knowing how it's going to feel. So yeah, it's fine.
So I think that the crux of the workout, like the biggest point for everyone, is probably the step overs. Now, because it's a 20-minute workout and you're looking at like 7 to 10 rounds being like the range of what we're seeing, transitions being that there's going to be a minimum of 3 transitions around is going to be really big. But then within that and the actual movements themselves, I think it's probably the step overs,
because they take the most time.
Yes. Yes, and I think there's a little bit of a differerential between male and female because of box height and weight. Like it's one of those scaling things. But especially for guys, I mean, Lightfoot took the top guy's score, I'm assuming, so a little bit over 9 rounds.
From what I know.
And he was breaking his box overs. You were 1 rep behind, and you broke your box over, your step overs right from the start, and I think that probably shows, right? And then these girls, like Lois, took the top score out of everyone. I don't think she broke any of them. So
I don't know actually, we'll have to see. But straight away, that is what you notice, is that Lois, her step overs are quicker. She's obviously going unbroken, but the actual movement speed of the step over is quicker. You know, whether obviously for different people, like Tommy obviously mentioned that he doesn't like step overs that much, because how tall is Tommy? Like 5'9", 5'8", maybe.
My hips,
being generous.
Is it? I mean, obviously individual anthropometrics and stuff will take
a look at people's like hip angle when they're stepping on the box. So like I know that, so if I'm 5'10", my hip angle at 90 degrees doesn't get me onto the box. So for someone like Tommy, who's a little shorter than that as well, it's going to just be even harder, isn't it? And it brings a whole nother factor in. Whereas like maybe watch yourself, you've got quite long legs for your height.
So up I go. The one thing I'm thinking about here is I'm trying to stay quite low on the box.
Keep the dumbbells low,
Keep the dumbbells low, but also I know it looks fine. Like I didn't find these on my back at all. It was all my grip for the step overs. The overhead squats were fatiguing my back. I'm assuming it was from the step overs too, but I do 6 and 6 the whole way. To start with, it was regimented, and then
yes, that's quite interesting. I didn't really find my grip blow up on this at all, like I expected it to. I mean, it's getting a little bit of a pump, but by no means bad. I think we spoke about it a little bit earlier. Like you can see how everyone sort of holds the dumbbell slightly differently. For me, and I know you said you do this for some of the sets, I just hook grip when I'm doing dumbbell box step overs, so you can almost relax your traps, relax your forearms, and just really try and like sit it in the meat of like your thumb and into your hand. But also when I'm doing that, tape up my thumbs really high on the knuckle so that it doesn't like sort of get a little bit of a scrape on your hook grip. But for me, so I can almost then not think about how I'm holding the dumbbells. It doesn't fatigue my grip too much. And like you say, you can try and then focus on keeping the dumbbells really low going across the box. Any like vertical movement of those dumbbells is just going to be more work done, right? So you can stay nice and low as you go over. Like Alex is doing a good job there of staying quite low with the dumbbells on the box.
Well, while you're on Alex, so let's talk about the step overs a little bit, because you can see how he's front on, right?
Yeah,
it's
so
like
this
face on every time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whereas if you watch Lois, who's going now, she's sort of turning as she's on there. She's sort of at a 45-degree angle. She's going over.
Yeah, Lois is obviously very quick on those. I think she's so fast because, like you said, the box is quite low for her, and she's obviously strong, so that weight isn't an issue. That's why she can go through those so quickly. Like for me, the 22.5 dumbbells feel relatively heavy to be stepping up and over a box, so I can't go that quick. But her technique is exactly what sort of I do and what I tell most other people to do. Whereas Alex is, because he's face on, so he comes down from the box, has to almost take like a couple steps forward each time to then turn around and come back into the box. Now this can help, I think, if you really do struggle with that weight, you can get a big swing into the dumbbells. But if your terms of speed, how we look at even you doing them there, like you can see it's a little bit heavier for you than it is for lower, so the reps take you a little bit longer, but it's step down and rotate, so as you're turning on top of the box,
sort of lean back,
and with G as well there, like she turns on top of the box and goes straight back up, so I mean it's a lot easier. It's just less time, right? Less time spent on each rep.
See, G should like step up then before she'd step down. You see that, and then
double check.
She had to correct herself.
Okay, well let's take a little bit of a look at kind of people's transitions and the different things they're doing. So look at Lois right here. I guess she's taking her time a bit more, but in those earlier rounds, I guess it might be quite important to get that foot in and get a pull going before you get the other one in. Then if we watch someone else transition onto the rower soon, it might be a case of just like both feet in, then start pulling.
My transitions got slower, definitely.
Yeah,
but to start with, like you say, if you were to rewind and watch the first two, I was definitely left foot in. I'm already pulling while I'm getting.
Who's onto a row soon?
Alex is in the second. She's done these.
So we're comparing basically Lois going 1 foot in, starting her pull as she gets the other foot into place. I'll be interested to see what he does here.
You're going to fatigue a little bit, right? You're going to slow down noticeably from round to round,
so
but you see how he's almost sat on going. Yeah, like when you've only got 8 cows to go and he sits up both feet, like it's just a case of you just want that row to start ticking up as soon as you can.
Even if you're pulling a little, a couple of alarm balls,
literally just pulling as soon as
my kind of thought process.
Like you did them,
My kind of thought process approaching the rower is like, as your bum touches the seat, that's when the first foot goes in. It's not like butt on the seat, foot. It's like bum on the seat, foot goes in, then you're going to start trying to do it. Obviously, it looks a lot slower than it feels at the time. She kind of like G's got it going on there now. She went bum and foot, then started going. And they're just the small margins, aren't they? But especially with a shorter row, the transition on the row is actually probably the most important part of it, rather than
because it's the thing you're on the time for the least, so wasting the most transition time relatively. I agree.
But also, like, no one's pulling big, fast cows on this row,
you're not.
so your actual transition on it is probably worth more than holding a higher pace.
You don't want to be going slow on this by any means, but like because it is such a long workout and there are a lot of transitions across 20 minutes, like every transition counts. So really, this is good practice for being able to move fast between movements. I know some people obviously different tactics going in, right? Whether you go unbroken on the overhead squats, whether you try and go unbroken on the dumbbells, sort of way you split it. Like my head going into this was, I think breaking the overhead squats is going to take more time in terms of actual transition than breaking like the dumbbell or anything else. So
you can just pop them
take
on the box and breathe.
Take a little bit more time. Take a little bit more time before going from the dumbbell to the overhead squats, and then try and make everything else quick. Like the transition from the overhead squats to the row, and the row to the dumbbell should be straight on. But then from the box, from the dumbbells to the barbell, it should be right. Go when you're ready to go. Unbroken on them, right?
I mean, if you watch G, she's actually almost a thing. I mean, she's resetting her monitor between here. I think she's got a lower back pump.
Yeah, I think she's already a little bit spinal.
But if you actually watch her in some of the earlier rounds, and maybe even this one, her overhead squat movement speed is the fastest. So once she's got the bar overhead and you're under tension, she might do them now, and you might be able to compare me and her if I'm still going. I'm obviously pausing a little bit at the top, whereas she is quick in and out of these overhead squats. Even though the transition's longer, you're not going to get to see it.
My actual opinion is that. So you were talking about taking the time to know you can go unbroken, whereas my actual opinion is I think you're better off trying to get straight on the bar. And if you can't go unbroken, that short rest you'll have there will be shorter than waiting to see if you're rested enough to go full.
It's a tough one
because it's the same thing with like a lot of gymnastics, whereas like if you wait and you're like, now I'm ready to go unbroken, compare that to someone who just steps straight in, jumps up, can't go unbroken, but they take one rest that's short.
No, I agree. I think it depends very much on the athlete, because like myself personally, if I was to do that, I know that just like I wouldn't be dumbbells down, run to the barbell, do my first snatch, I'd still be walk over, take a breath, then go. And then if I was to break, it would definitely be in total, like I just know for myself, it would be in total longer. So I think it's sort of like knowing what you're like as an athlete. Like if you can run to the barbell and do your first, like do a squat snatch to start that first rep and bust out 6 with pretty much no rest from the dumbbell, then yeah, I think you're right, that might be a little bit quicker. But for someone like me who was power snatching that first rep, setting my feet, it was definitely a lot quicker for me to do unbroken.
Also the style of workout, right? If you've got 30 chest bar at the end of a workout, it's just like just go, right? Jump up and knock out as many as you can. But when it's, I don't know, 7 to 10 rounds of 12 overhead squats, so you're looking at, you could be doing 120 overhead squats. Yeah, I think identifying if it's something you're going to be able to do early on is going to be really worthwhile. And then you don't want to like figure it out on the fly. Almost, at least for me, with a 20-minute AMRAP, I kind of want to know what I'm going to do and then just try and force myself to stick to it. I wouldn't say my transition was massively slow there, considering we're over halfway through the workout.
No, I think that transition was actually quite good. My issue with that is like people who are second guessing. So like they're maybe not feeling good and they're like, am I ready to go? Am I not? And then they're just waiting too long instead of, like you say, it's totally athlete dependent. Because then, say someone goes straight in and they break, that rest in the middle then might be a long one.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on what I think would work faster. Because you've got people like who don't maybe believe themselves as much, just resting for ages.
Like I say, right, this is one of those workouts that you'd retest and definitely get a better score, and then you'd be able to know from how you first do it. Whether it worked for you or whether it didn't, right? Taking that little bit of a rest if you do break, or if you, when unbroken, you'd maybe try the other way round, depending on how you sort of looked at it and reviewed. Like looking at G, her going like, well, like I said, she's very quick on the movement speed of her overhead squats. But in terms of her transition time, I'm actually not really paying too much attention to her transition time at the moment. But like, yeah, so it's one of those ones
after the dumbbells for G, she's struggling. I think it's after the dumbbells because I think that's maybe what's holding her back up. We'll have to see. I mean, Lois wins the workout and she obviously has got good transition. Something I did notice on the last round, or maybe a couple, is that she starts to chalk up between the dumbbells and the overhead squat. Now, I don't know. Like you said, Adzi, you didn't find it was grip or anything, so I don't know if Lois is because she's holding on. And if grip is a factor, maybe chalk up, but I just think that she really looks so sort of good on these that I would be advising her to not chalk up. I probably wouldn't even have the chalk bucket near enough to justify it. Like, let's say it's an open workout, right? I'd be like, look, you're just going to hold on to these dumbbells, and the only time you put them down is if your fingers slip, like you literally drop it. Yeah.
Sure. Did all of these guys in here, they all did this on their own, didn't they, as well?
No, I think I've cut Alex's video slightly width-wise. I think these two people are doing with him, even though they're doing slightly different version, like that lady's on the bike over there behind. Yeah. But they are stepping over a box, I think, and there's another person doing box step overs. But
yeah, so I see what you mean. So Lois chalks there, and it's like, do you actually need chalk?
Really need it? Like
her transition from the row to the step overs was really good just then. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, the chalk break's almost like adding to a rest, because her transition, cutting the chalk break out would be pretty good there as well, considering
that's what I mean, yeah.
Unbroken.
Because she got a top score, and I'm just thinking ways to get an even better score, right? And when it's in the open, every rep is places, right? I just feel like, for me personally, if your back is okay, I feel like you can breathe during the overhead squats. So I kind of, my mentality was pick it up, and if it's okay on your back, just breathe and try and not recover. But do you know what I mean? Like, try and just...
Yeah, overhead squats were bad for me on my shoulders.
Oh, really?
My shoulders are just super...
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's just a culmination of the week of training, and that's why I didn't feel amazing. But yeah, it was shoulder fatigue more than anything. I was having some back problems that week, but like, it was dull. It was like a dull ache. It wasn't like shooting, so I could handle that. It was, shoulders were quite fatigued, and then dumbbells obviously grip.
Yeah. So, Adzi, you put the target score of what I think was 9 rounds dead.
Yeah.
For the ladies, it was slightly more because their row is less, and so to reach the target times they had to do slightly more work. But let's just call it 9 rounds. Lois obviously hit 10 and then a few overhead squats. She's still chugging away through whatever round she's in there. What sort of top scores do you think we'd be looking at in the Open for the UK? Because that's what these guys.
Question, yeah, I think the girls would not go much higher than what Lois hit, to be honest. I think they'd struggle to go much quicker than
in the 10th round.
Under 2 a round. Yeah, I think maybe you'd get a couple of people from
like Sam
finish. Yeah, a couple of people. You have those anomalies, right? The finishing that, but I think the majority of the top girls are going to be around that, like finishing 10 into the 11th round. Maybe a couple finish the 11th. Guys, I think it's going to be a case of them finishing the 10th. It's quite similar, probably the top end, to be honest, to what the girls' scores are. Around the same score, I reckon around that 10 round mark. Again, you get someone who's really.
I feel
really
like
confident.
I feel like you can
best in the world.
I feel that's a really hard question because
yeah, it is, but
you're always so surprised.
Yeah, it's true.
You always see scores come in and you're just like, how have they done that? Like that is incredible. But definitely, I mean, if you wanted a comparison, this time last year, Lois was within the top 20 in the UK. Obviously made a lot of progress since then. I'd say this style of workout's probably quite good for her.
Yeah, agreed.
So you'd assume that this might be like, I guess not all of her finishes are inside the top 20 because it's all compiled, but you'd assume that this is top end of the field in the UK especially. Given that was an entire year ago as well since then. Equally for you, I feel like your AMRAP score wasn't bad in the Open. So probably quite comparable to that as well. Like, what was that kind of like grip intensive, transition times? Like, it's a similar kind of thing to that.
Good point.
So if you wanted to look comparatively to yourself a year ago, that's kind of probably whereabouts it was. Do you know where you've kind of finished in that in the UK?
That in the toaster bar with the double unders.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like 60th as a ballpark.
Okay.
50 to 60.
So you'd think this would be like a top?
I don't know.
A top 30 score now, maybe potentially. That's obviously just completely just.
Who knows? I mean, there's obviously, like you say, this is one that you would probably redo, like you guys said, because it's that 20 minute, and you've got to you've almost got to do it to see how it feels. Whereas in some open workouts, it's 3, 2, 1, go, right? And you don't really have much left in the locker.
So I think then if we go around the same where we could, in terms of these 4 guys, make up a little bit of time, right? Make up a little bit of score.
You finished?
I think.
No, look, there's 2 minutes left on the clock. All these clocks are synced, so there's left.
So in terms of where people can make up time, right? So the person I've been looking at just for the last couple of rounds is G, and that her finishing the box step overs to going into that first overhead squat, each round was 35 seconds basically from when she stopped the dumbbells and got to did her first rep of the overhead squat, which is obviously a lot of time if you're looking at trying to get 10 rounds. You want to be doing 2 minutes per round. That's 25% of your time made up on resting between the dumbbells and the overhead squat. So for her, maybe if we were to retest this, I would tell her, let's get straight on, do a first 6 overhead squats as quick as you can, then have a rest and break them up slightly. I know she did say her back was definitely fatiguing like everyone else. So
her movement speed though is so, look at that. I mean, when she's moving.
That's what I mean. The dumbbells are very quick, and from the row to the dumbbels, really quick as well. So that's what I think she can make up the time going from.
I always think that's a really
dumbbells
strong thing when you're training with G is that. Like if it's a workout that's largely based around movement speed, I think it's quite dangerous. Obviously there's a few other factors in here, it's like back pump and stuff like that, so it makes the transition slower. But definitely her movement speed is a strength for her.
Yeah.
So then obviously Mike, you did this and we're watching you, so where do you think you can make up time on
this?
I
think my row pace dropped quite a lot. I wouldn't try and do the step overs unbroken. I think I would just, watching the video, force myself to be like, get on that rower, do 3 big pulls, settle down every time, and trust that I can do the overhead squats unbroken, because I was a little worried I was going to have to break them.
Yeah, I think again, and like we said, for you, it's sort of almost the opposite to G, right? It is movement speed, it's something we want to work on and really be quick doing them, so maybe the actual speed of the reps, the overhead squat, so just less time under tension, right?
Yeah, there's some women just got on the lowest.
I think she said, like, she must have called, like, I'm finished. So they all start going, because she's got, we got 52 seconds left, and she's got, I don't know what she's on. She's about to do some overhead squats. Yeah.
You back yourself to get back on that road. That's the but anyway.
Yeah.
For
Honestly, this is crazy, isn't it?
Alex, so the biggest thing I'd say first off, it would be fixing that dumbbell box step over technique, just to make the actual speed of those reps quicker. I know he's slowing down on them a lot because he's obviously getting very fatigued. So if you could speed up how he does the reps themselves, less time on detention, maybe to make them a little bit less fatiguing. His overhead squat position looks fairly good, and so did the speed of reps on there. And then also that transition, getting onto the row right straight away, stop them a little bit quicker there. Like that was actually one of his best ones because he's only got 12 seconds left. So you do that every round, you're going to make up a little bit of time on it. And then Lois, I think really there's not going to be anywhere that she takes up much time on it. Maybe, like we said, take your thumbs up. A little bit less chalk and maybe adjust that grip slightly on the dumbbell, and then just keep that speed because I don't think she needs to stop at any point to sort of chalk the hands. That's obviously a good workout for her, pretty well executed the whole way through. There's not really much she could improve on, to be honest.
No.
Again, you maybe speed it up a little, maybe you repeat it and you maybe speed up a little bit here or there. I think one thing that was really good for her is her road speed as well was really high the whole time. So you almost don't think about that, right? Yeah.
You can connect, maybe in the future, because you can connect the
only with wall-proof
premium.
I know. I really wanted that.
As in the individual has to pay for it.
No, I think if we get the coaching package, we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which would be cool, right? To see what everyone's rowing splits are. Well done, G. It's like it's live almost.
Yeah. Hey, G.
Well done, G. Yeah. Me and Alex just. I don't think I turned this camera off for a while, so because I was just in my head, I was trying to figure out. I was like, did I get 9?
Already trying to stretch out his glutes as well.
I was lapping on my watch, but.
Yeah. Good. So no, good workout. Hopefully we can do this.
I mean, next week's one's going to be fun because it's El Sprintos.
Sure.
I think next week's
pausing it.
Hopefully we could we could almost do like 2 heats almost like because it's so short, and we don't want to go for 2 20-minute AMRAP bouts. So yeah, should be good. Hopefully everyone found that useful. Well done, Alex. Sit on the floor, man. Yeah.